So what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, you know I appreciate having you here. Stick around for today's video. It's an owner's review of this, the AFRICATWIN, the CRF1000L. I've had this for just over 3 years, so I'm going to tell you the likes and dislikes. I'm going to have a little bit of a walk around and show you the modifications I've made on this. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is the last ride ever I'm going to have on this bike, because it's sold. That's right. You've heard it here first. Well, you would do, wouldn't you? It's my channel, my bike. Anyway. Alright, thank you very much for sticking around. Right, let's start with what's gone wrong. That's probably a best place to start. Let's start with the bad, and then we'll work up to the good. Because no one wants to end on a negative. Let's start on the negatives and end on the positives. Right, so the recalls and problems I've had on this bike is zero, basically. There was one recall that has changed the wheels, where the spokes were discolouring, they were burring up or furring up. I don't know what the technical term is, but they were discolouring, basically. So when it was in for a service, I didn't know, because if you watch my channel, you know my AFRICATWIN's pretty dirty all the time because I take it off-road. But they noticed the spokes were discolouring, so they offered to change the spokes under warranty. So I said, yeah, no problem. Then they got back to me and you said, you know what, it's easier if we just change the wheels. So I went, yeah, of course. So I've got a new set of wheels on this. Well, new maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I'm not sure when they did it, but it's got new wheels on it. And that's the only thing it's been recalled for, and that is the only problem I've had with it. I've had zero problems at all. I had a fuse go in the charger for the 12 volt, but that's my fault. I stuck a tyre inflator in there and it didn't have a big enough fuse. But apart from that, absolutely zero. So although it's a negative, it's kind of a positive. Right, so the things I don't like about the bike, I don't like the fact that I've got a white van up my chuff. Right, let's pull over and let him past. Right, things I don't like about the bike, or didn't like about the bike, is the number one is the suspension. It was a bit rock and roll on and off the throttle. The throttle's a tiny bit snatchy, being a big twin, and with soft suspension you roll on and off the throttle. Unless you're really smooth with it, it rocks. So I've upped the front suspension by tweaking its yes, and made it a little bit, I don't know if it's stiffer, higher, whatever, I don't know. I've twiddled it so it's a bit meh, and I've done the same with the back so it's a bit meh. It's full of technical terms on this channel, you know. So basically it doesn't rock and roll so much on the road. It's better on the road. I don't muck around with it when I go off-road. I just leave it on the street settings. I am a heavy guy. I'm 18 stone, so it probably helps in that sense as well. I was probably a little bit too heavy for it. Probably thought it had a pillion on it. Another negative is the tubed tyres. They make me paranoid. They make me absolutely bloody paranoid. I've never had a puncture on this one. In 3 years, I haven't had a puncture, so that's good. But it's always in the back of my mind, if I do get a puncture, it's an epic ordeal, and I have to take around with me so many tools. Anyway, let's be quiet, because we've got the Nationals. Oh, just a little bit of short shift there. Oh, horses, clutch in, quietness. Right, where were we? The negative points, the tyres and the tubes in them. Yeah, if you've ever had a puncture on a tube tyre, you know what a pain in the backside it is to change. So to get that at the side of the road, if you're in a rush, especially if you've got my technical know-how, it's going to take you probably about a week to change it. So that's a bit of a negative. You can get tubeless kits or other makes on the market to sort that out. I was going to do that, but I haven't got round to it, so that would have solved that. And while we're on the wheels, the negatives is a 21-inch front wheel for the road. It makes the handling not great. I mean, it's not bad. It's pretty good for a 21-inch front wheel. It's better than my 250, that's for sure. But it just means you have to be a bit more thoughtful when gunning it round bends, especially with the tyres I've got on, which I will show you on the walk round. Other negatives. Do you know what? I'm really struggling. I do love this bike, so I'm struggling. Right, let's forget the negatives. Right, we passed over there. I'm sure there are others. If you've got a negative in your AFRICATWIN, drop it down in the comment section. I might have the same one, I just can't remember. I'm getting all emotional because it's the last ride, you see. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Right, what we do is I'll do the walk round and then we'll do the positives. That makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? Right, let's do the walk round and show you some of the modifications that I've done to my beloved AFRICATWIN. I'm going to keep calling it that. By the time I get to the end of this, I'm not going to want to sell it. Well, it's too late. I've sold it. It's got to go. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. It's not you. It's me. Anyway, I brought you to my favourite location, which has one of my favourite skips in. There are other skip companies available. Right, let's get on with the modifications. It's bloody warm today. They reckon about 30 degrees. Right, first of all, the obvious, the screen. I've changed the screen for this MRA touring screen thing. I don't like the look of it, to be honest. I think it looks absolutely horrible, but it does a great job. I'm tall, I'm 6'2", and this is the only screen I've got that stops buffeting around the top of the head and shoulders. All the other screens, even the Honda tool screen with an extension on, doesn't work. This one works brilliant, but I do not like the look of it. I've got the handguards, but I think they came standard with it. I'm not sure. I've also got round this side, well, I've got them on both sides because it's heated grips. You get them on either side, you know. Technical channel this. I went for the Oxford ones simply because they're about £80 compared to about 400, and I've never had any problems with them. They heat up really nicely. I don't think I've ever had them on full, so they're pretty good. I've got a TomTom hardwired in, which I don't really use anymore. I use apps on my phone, so that's a little bit obsolete, but it's nice to have if you're on a long trip. It's really easy to use the TomTom. It's the 550 rider, I believe. I've got the Honda tank bag. At first I was like, oh god, that's a bit expensive for what it is, but it bolts into here. It's got these little clips here and it sits on the tank nicely, and it hasn't done any scratches whatsoever, so that's good, and that's pretty handy. It's got a waterproof cover. Right, down here, I'm running through this quickly because I've got to go to work. We've got the engine bars, the crash bars. They've seen a little bit of work, but not from crashing. This is from the lanes, and in England, our lanes are quite narrow. We have big ruts, so it's taken a few hits on there, so it's better hitting there than the actual engine casing. So they've done their job, and they're from rugged roads, and they're pretty good. I'll show you the other side. And what I like about these as well, when you're doing a bit of a stint, you can put your feet on them or your legs on them and just have your feet here, and it's nice and laid back like a little bit of a cruiser. Right, to state the obvious, seeing as you've been looking at it all the while I've been riding around the bike thinking, what are those tyres, Fish? I shall tell you. They're Pirelli Scorpion ST Rallies, or Rally STRs I should say, and these were a game changer. This in the dirt with the standard road tyres that it came with was absolutely awful. Okay on hard pack stuff like this, but anything apart from this, any slight bit of mud, and awful. It would slide front and rear all over the place. These are really good again for this sort of stuff. When it gets really muddy, they're not good at all. They're not deep enough in the tread, but they are a lovely tyre for the sort of like 50-50 for a combination of the road and a little bit of gravel off-road stuff. As I said, I wouldn't take them in pure mud, but when it's a little bit ropey, it's not too bad. I'll come to that in a minute. I have got a luggage system for this. I've got this rack here, and I've got two trekker boxes that go on the back. Not at the same time, that would be weird. I've got a smaller one, which you've probably all seen in the videos, and a large one, which I don't actually use. It's about 58 litres, I think. Although who's filling these boxes up with liquid, I don't know. And that's really, really handy. I do like a back box. I said when I started biking years ago, there's three things I would never have. That's a screen, a back box, and heated grips. Now look at me, what an idiot I was. I've also got the Honda luggage that attaches to here. Now it's not very good, it's side opening, so all your stuff falls on the floor. So what you've got to do is detach it, put it on the floor and open it like a suitcase, and then it's fine. But as a whole, I don't like side opening cases. They're handy if you've got stuff stored up here across here, so then you can open it. You don't have to lift everything off so to get to the top. If I would have thought about it, I probably would have bought a pannier rack and bought some trekker luggage to match the back box. But the thing I like about the Honda luggage is when it comes off, this is what you're left with. There's no frames or anything, so it's really, really nice and clean. And seeing as I ride like this probably 95% of the time, it's probably wise that I went with that decision. I've only used the luggage probably 3 times in 3 years, so yeah, I probably would have wasted my money doing the other stuff because I haven't really been on a journey with it. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry, love. It just didn't happen. We were meant to do many things, but it never happened. Now, on to this. The Remus exhaust. This is what I'm going to miss the most on this bike, the sound. Well, actually, the comfort is really comfortable, but the sound is just, oh, it is one of the most amazing bikes I've ever heard. If you've been out riding with me or heard it in the flesh, it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's an absolutely awesome piece of kit. I can highly recommend this Remus can, or any Remus can, as long as it sounds like this, on your Africa Twin. It's bloody good. I shall give you a little listen. This is only through the microphone in the cheek pad of my crash helmet, but it might give you an idea. You might want to put earphones on at this point. So that's enough of that, because it is quite peaceful around here and it is a farm, and I'm sure the farmer's going to come out and shoot me in the testicles with his shotgun. Right, so now I've set the scene, let's get out of here. Let's get on with this ride and I'll tell you the positives about this bike. Right, so positives about this bike is the noise and how I feel on it. I do like riding this bike. As I said, even though the negatives are the handling, it does handle quite well for a 21-inch front wheel bike. So although that's a negative, it's a positive for a 21-inch front wheel bike, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I absolutely love the sound of this bike, especially with its exhaust. Right, so let's get on with the positives. I was slightly distracted by the noise then. Positives, ergonomics, absolutely fantastic for me. If you watch my videos, you know, 6'2", wide in the shoulder, long in the legs, 18 stone, and it suits me. The triangle from the bars to the pegs to the seat, absolutely spot on. I could do with bar risers for off-road, but I haven't bothered changing those because 90% of its life, or 99% of its life's been on-road. So all in all, for touring, everyday riding, throwing around, absolutely beautiful, very, very comfortable indeed. The seat was a little bit hard when I got it, but over the 3 years with my fat booty on it, it has bedded in a lovely... Oh, there's a bit of gravel in the road. Let's go down here. Sorry, that was a bit wide. That wasn't a shit turn. That was just gravel in the road, so I didn't want to wash out on the front. Right, build quality, absolutely fantastic. As I said in the negatives, apart from the spokes going, I've had absolutely no problems with this whatsoever. It's been fantastic. It's never skipped a beat. I've never missed a service on it. I've always been up to date with the services and maintenance, so it's got 100% of that done. But in the mileage I've done, I haven't done a lot. I've only done just over 9,000, so I haven't really done a lot. I didn't want to come down here. Shall I? Oh, let's carry on. As you can see, I don't know what I'm doing. Right, where were we? Build quality, yeah, absolutely fantastic, spot on. All the switches, everything feels very tactile, very nice, very reassuring, and very well built. As I've said, I haven't done many miles on this. I did plan to do many, many trips. I was meant to go to Scotland in May, but obviously, due to the bloody sea, I couldn't go anywhere, so that trip never happened. And you never know, if I'd have done that trip, I might never have sold this bike, but alas, I have, and it's going. Again, I'm very, very sorry. Not to the tank bag, to the bike. Yeah, on a sunny day like this, it's absolutely beautiful to ride, but it's also great when it's peeing down with rain, when it's horrible. All through the winter, heated grips on with the rain driving. This frontal area does a good job of keeping you dry. This engine bay, or whatever you want to call it, the front mounting here, the side, I'll get there in a minute, I'll get there. The side of the bike keeps the rain off your shins pretty well, and all this area here stays pretty dry. It's only kind of the top of my head, hits my shoulders and then runs down. You will get soaking. I mean, it's not a car, but it's better than, say, a naked bike. Off-road is pretty good. I liked it. It's given me a lot of confidence. I'm a new off-road rider. If you watch my videos, you'll know I'm a new off-road rider. And I actually bought this to do a 50-50. In my mind, when you buy a bike like this, you kind of fall into where the adverts take you. You're going to be riding across the Moroccan desert. There's going to be all these wonderful trips you're going to do. You're going to be in faraway lands doing exotic things, when in reality you're commuting through London in the pissing rain. So the exotic things, I'm sure it does really, really well. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to do those, but the shitty things, it does really well as well. Too many wells in that sentence, but you get my drift. It is a really good all-rounder bike. Although it's big and it's, I suppose it's quite heavy, I haven't found it cumbersome at all. But then again, as I said, I am a big lad, so that's for the ladies. I don't know what I'm talking about now. All in all, a bloody good bike for commuting, all-round touring, everyday riding, and especially off-road. It does handle the off-road section really well. Since I've changed these tyres, it has changed the characteristics of this off-road like chalk and cheese. On the standard tyres, I had no confidence. I was all over the place, very, very nervous. Put these on, and in the dry, I ride it a little bit like my 250, and touch wood, I haven't crashed it off-road. It's amazing. The 250 I've thrown down the road so many times it's unreal, but this, no, it stayed upright. I don't know how with my skill level, but it has. So there you go. It's a good road bike, good off-road bike. It's basically a good bike. I love it. I absolutely love this bike. Hold on, let me pull over, because I've just realised that I can give you average miles per litre or miles per gallon. I'm not sure what I've got it on, but I never reset the trip on this thing. The last time I reset the trip, I think it was about 8,000, 9,000 miles ago. So let's just I'll get over the brow of the hill here, and let's just pull over, and I'll give you guys a little look at the dash, so we can get the miles per litre, because I'm not sure what I've averaged over the last however many miles. Right, so total mileage 9,314. I told you I haven't ridden it much. Trip A 8,000, trip B 9,300. Right, so if I go to trip A, that'll be the last time I reset everything. Let's go up. So the average miles per litre consumption is 10.5 miles per litre, and that's over 8,000 miles of mainly, I'd say, short distance riding. Hasn't been on many long distance trips at all. A couple of times to Birmingham, but that's about it. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I will tell you another negative about this bike while we're talking about that, is the light, the petrol light comes on an average of about 145 miles to around 160. That's when the fill up light comes on, and you might get more out there. It tells you you've got 30 miles on the countdown trip on here left in the tank, and I've always got at least a litre when I get to the petrol station in the tank, so I've never been in danger of running out. Some people say you can get 200 miles, but calculations are, if I'm getting 145 and that says 30, I'm not getting 200 miles out of a tank. So it's not very good on that. It was one of my dislikes when I did the 5 things I don't like about the bike, was the tank range, and that hasn't got any better. It's still around 145 miles till the light comes on to 160, and I don't know about you guys, I can't stand riding with the petrol light on. It drives me mad. As soon as that comes on, within 10 miles I want to start looking for a petrol station. So that's another little negative, but I kind of got used to that. Right, let's get on and ride some more. That's enough of the boring information. Almost became a proper channel then. I'm not sure if you're actually getting any information from this whatsoever. I'm just rambling on and riding. But I will say the biggest plus point of this bike is how it makes you feel. The sound and the engine characteristics and everything. It's not the most powerful adventure bike out there, we all know that. It's quick enough for me. I've got a kind of 100 brake horsepower rule. I don't need any more than that. I say I don't need. I would have, but I don't need, if that makes sense. But this thing, it just sounds gorgeous on the overrun, and when you're accelerating with this exhaust, there's something that gets deep in your soul about it. It's just absolutely spine tingling some days, and that's going to be the hardest thing to miss, is the way it makes me feel when I'm on it. I love the bike, I'm very comfortable on it, but the sound of when I'm exploring down these little country lanes with this exhaust, oh, it just makes me feel alive. Just on a little short shift, it's wonderful. And these are the roads I ride, these little bumpy back roads, so this bike is absolutely perfect for this. Didn't know where I was going then. Well, there you go. That's what I love about the bike. I love the ergonomics, I love the look of the bike, I love the feel of the bike, I love the sound of the bike, I love the power of the bike. I don't even know why I'm selling it, to be honest. I really don't know why I'm selling it. I just got an opportunity to get another bike, and I kind of went with my gut. I'll tell you more about that when I do the next bike reveal of how I came about getting that bike and the reasons why we're swapping over. I won't go too much into that on this video because this is all about this one, my lovely Africa Twin. So yeah, doing this video has made me a little bit emotional. It's made me a bit sad, actually. I want to keep the bloody thing now. Well, if I could afford to, I would keep it, but I can't. Alas, I've got to part exchange this. Oh, little clue there. It's not going to a person, it's going to a shop. Right, so this is just a little bit I want to drop in that I forgot to mention, that if you do buy this bike and you do watch my videos, please, please take it off-road at least once. She loves it. She's going to miss it without me. Don't just use it for a pure road bike. That would be sinning. That would be just, I don't know, blaspheming against the dirt gods. I don't see the point of having a bike with a 21-inch front wheel and just purely using it on the road. The Adventure Sport, I've not got a problem with that because that's built as a tourer. But this model, nah. Put some semi-knobbies on, put some 50/50s on, and go and do some dirt, please. The bike will love you for it. It will treat you so much better. But there you go. That's just my opinion. People are going to hate me for this because I know plenty of people, or most people, never take their Africa Twin off-road. As I said, Adventure Sport, no problem with that. Big tank, designed for road use basically. It just has tube tyres. That's the only off-road bit about it. I mean, it's good off-road and it's got a 21-inch front wheel, I grant you that. So technically it should go off-road, but I let it slide for that one. But for this model and the new CRF1000 standard, if you don't take it off-road, your bike won't like you so much. Trust me on this one. Trust me. This bike is designed to do at least a little bit of off-road. Even if you only take it up one gravel track in its life, please do it. Please do it. Because I don't understand, again, I'm going to get hate for this, I don't understand how you can buy a bike with a 21-inch front wheel and not at least once in its life take it off-road. Don't hate me for that one if you don't ever take it off-road. I don't really mind, I'm only joking. I'm more about this one. Please, if you do buy it, take it off-road. She loves it. Anyway, back to the original video. Yeah, so I've got a part exchange. Well, I haven't got to. It just, a deal came up and I couldn't resist. Let's put it that way. So we're getting rid of the Africa Twin and we're moving on to the next bike. We are moving on to the next bike. So look out for that video, the new bike reveal. I should do that in the next week or two. I haven't got it yet, obviously. Yeah, so keep an eye on the channel, and the best way to keep an eye on this channel, I see what I'm doing here, I'm linking it in, is to subscribe, to like, to share, and to hit that notification bell so you guys can get the drop on all these videos, and you will definitely get the drop on the reveal of the new bike. So on that note, from myself, on the last ride of my beloved, my beautiful, my best friend for the past 3 years, in the motorcycle terms of course, I don't want to offend any humans, it's goodbye from the wonderful CRF1000L Africa Twin and myself. Till the next video, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, make sure you look out for the review video, and if you want to, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think I'm going to get. It would be interesting to see what you think. Anyway, I'm definitely ending it now. You know I love you all. Stay safe. Fish out.
Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead, get gone. Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead.